All right, Bob, I have one question that was sent to us, and it was, can you talk a little bit about UV and ozone? And if I had to pick one, which one would you recommend?
Okay, the first answer that I would give you is that I need to know your purpose for wanting one of those. The reason for asking is, are you trying to get rid of chloramines? Is that a problem? Or are you worried about things like cryptosporidium? Or do you have a lot of buildup of organics in the water from soap and oil and deodorant and hairspray and those kinds of things? Or are you just trying to lower the amount of chlorine chlorine that you need in the pool? So I think you need to define the purpose first. It may not be an either or, it may be which product might be suited for what you want to do. But as an overall thing, I would say that probably ozone is a wiser choice than UV if you were going to choose between the two. And part of the reason for that is that ozone is a better oxidizer and a better killer than chlorine. It just doesn't last very long in the water. But as a result, because it's a better oxidizer than chlorine, it oxidizes more things, and it oxidizes those things quicker. And so it gets rid of chloramines, it gets rid of oil and soap and those kinds of things. And the things that we see from a practical standpoint and from a homeowner standpoint is that when we put ozone in the pool, we still have to use chlorine with it, but we see less ring around the tub, less scum and soap and buildup on the tile. The tile stays really clean. We see less junk that gets in the skimmer that's kind of sticky and moldy and stuff like that. Those kinds of things go away. Depending on the amount of ozone you apply, you can get rid of anywhere between 50 to 90% of the chlorine usage. And what I'm saying is you still need the same residual of chlorine. It will just take you a lot less chlorine to maintain it. So we don't want to get to the point where we are trying to run a pool, say, on a half a part per million of chlorine. And the reason for that is that if you have 6 people in a family jump into the pool and you've only got a half a part per million of chlorine in the pool, you're probably going to wipe out that half a part per million of chlorine. And now you got nothing. There's zero protection in the pool. And that's not a good thing because that means there's no protection for bather to bather transmission of disease. So we still need to keep a residual. And maybe with ozone, you could keep up a 1.5, or maybe 2 parts per million of chlorine in the pool along with the ozone. And then the question is how much ozone, and the answer is how much can you afford? Probably most 15,000 gallons pools will probably need about 5 grams of ozone per hour. And that would be sufficient to really take care of the pool just great. And the longer you run the pump and the more ozone you put in, the less chlorine you'll use and the better the pool will be. As far as UV goes, the advantage to UV is the fact that it adds nothing to the water. So we're not adding another chemical to the water for somebody to be swimming in. It is good at killing cryptosporidium, Giardia lamblia, many of the E. coli resistant bacteria. And so it's pretty good at doing that. It doesn't change anything in the water. The disadvantage is that only those things that are going through that ultraviolet sterilizer are being killed. So if you have algae in the pool, if you have bacteria in the pool, if you got a biofilm growing someplace, it's not going in front of that UV unit. It is pretty good at removing chloramines and killing some of the things that chlorine takes a long time to use. So I think the definition of what the purpose of getting UV or ozone. I think you need to find that out first. But just in general, I would rather go with ozone than UV. But in some cases, even in a commercial case, you may need both of them.